Hi, I'm Katie Dorrington. I've come to the studio in Essex to interview the music producer Abbiss, who's worked with such people as Kasabian, the Arctic Monkeys and Adele. How did you first get into music?
I played piano from about the age of 7, and I played trumpet from about the age of 6. And then when I first really got into music, the first stuff I really loved was hearing punk rock on the radio. And those two instruments weren't really that great for being in a punk band, so I got a bass guitar.
When did you decide you wanted to pursue a career in music?
15, I think. I bought quite a lot of records by this point, and I'd been dabbling myself, playing bass in a band. The few gigs that we'd done locally, I just found that I just wasn't a natural performer, and I just found it really terrifying being on stage. And I'd started to read the cover notes of lots of records and saw that there were people who were producers and engineers, and they worked in studios and made these recordings that I loved. I just actually thought this actually could be a job I could do maybe one day.
You've produced some of Adele's albums.
Yeah.
How did that come about, and what was she like to work with?
I was actually working with a friend of hers, a guy called Jack Peñate, and we needed a backing vocalist. And I wanted to get somebody that I knew the next day or the day after. And he said, I'm actually going to call a friend of mine. So I was kind of unsure about it. And she burst in about an hour later. A really funny girl. And she did the BVs in one take. And I really couldn't quite believe how incredible her voice was. And a few months later, I got a call saying, would I be interested in working with her as a producer? And so we worked together, and we did most of her first record, and every time was 9 out of 10, and there'll be some 10 out of 10s in there, and it was very easy just to do things and get great takes. And
what is your best experience working as a producer?
the first Arctic Monkeys album was a very, very short session, enough time for one song per day. There was no time to kind of pontificate about stuff. We just had to get on with it. I think it worked in its favour, so it made it just really exciting. And at the same time, there was a big buzz going on, certainly in the music press, but also in the mainstream press was starting to catch on about with this amazing band that had an incredible live following and never put records out. So it was one of the first times that sort of the internet had become involved in the early campaign of a band.
Do you have a preferred way of working?
I love people playing in a room together and trying to get great takes out of them, whether that just forms the basis of something that you edit and overdub lots of things on it or whatever. I just still believe that the core of a great recording comes from people doing something and performing. How
do you decide who you work with?
Initially, I will be sent demo recordings that someone's done. The first thing is, do I like this? You know, would I play this at home? Would I buy this? And then I try and find out a bit more about what they want to do, and if that feels like something I could do, I have to feel that I can contribute in a positive way to it.
How does it feel knowing that you've worked on some of the most popular albums in music history?
Wow. I don't tend to think of it like that, really. It's very lovely to say, and obviously that feels very nice, but I'm thinking about what is the next thing, you know, what's the next exciting thing that might come along.
What song that you've worked on are you most proud of, and why?
There's loads that I really, really love. But for the whole experience of it, probably Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor, Arctic Monkeys, just because I think it's a really great tune, loads of attitude. It was like amazing. Not only had that got to number 1, but it has stopped Westlife getting there.
There is a general conception that pop music has become more formulaic and too commercially driven. What do you think?
Everything about it, the sound has become completely homogenised. The music industry has taken a massive hit in terms of its revenue because of people downloading initially illegally, and then the move gradually towards streaming. And so everybody's paranoid that they want to keep their earnings up. And so most people in record labels who are scared of keeping their jobs want to find something that fits in with everything else on the radio, rather than thinking, is this genuinely great? We all got into music for the people that started something new.
What do you think about the effect of music being consumed digitally?
The only downside to it, or downsides to it, are it makes it easier to get hold of it illegally, so there's no value in the music anymore. And the way that it's consumed and listened to, we are still striving to make great sounding recordings, but people don't listen on whatever the modern version of a hi-fi is anymore. They tend to listen on earbuds for something that's a really compressed file, not very great bandwidth, and doesn't really sound that great. So it's a shame that we have all this amazing technology and we've allowed a really terrible version of what we could have to be the norm of listening.
How do you see the future trends in music changing?
Wow, now I would be rich if I knew that. You can find interesting music if you look hard enough. With streaming, people choose playlists that all form the same kind of feeling, so people get lazy about it. So you just accept what someone has chosen for you as fitting in with what you want, with your lifestyle. And I just think that goes against any kind of individuality.
Thank you for your time.
Pleasure.